I thought we might start with the Barons video today because we didn't get to do them yesterday.
Watch it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because last time it's like quite hard to watch and share. It's in the if you guys haven't already watched it, it's in the Teams. So why don't we all quickly watch it, and then we'll come back and have a chat.
Should not give an introduction or anything. Just go straight into it.
No one else got it, so you don't get it either.
All right.
Now we'll watch it and then we'll go in. Honestly, to be honest,
Okay.
like, people were like, the feedback was real good actually last week, like real constructive. So I'm pretty positive.
Yeah, cool.
Well,
that's what
the first time.
You know?
Yeah,
I definitely know a lot
so,
wrong with it, but okay.
Yeah, let's all watch it, and then we'll be back in like a minute or whatever it is to watch it, and we'll come back.
Where is it in Teams, Dan? Sorry.
Yeah, it's in the main
in Cohort in
the
files.
General post stuff.
The general post. I'll tag you in it so you can find it. Yeah, you'll get a notification in Teams now.
Oh, they done.
Got it. Just broke. You some? Wait.
Stan might have muted us. He muted us last time.
Yum.
Oh, that showing was like things was it chocolate? Yeah, chocolate covering the caramel. Yeah.
I love that. Right, we all watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's our thoughts?
It's cool. I want to eat it. I like the intro, like the legs walking in, and he kind of like stopped, and you're like, oh, something's gonna happen. And then like, I always love seeing it going like into the little machine. I could watch that for hours and hours.
It's the money shot. We did the first scene is supposed to be, the whole idea is it's supposed to be the Baron. So we brought some Tiva sandals, but they didn't arrive in time. So it's supposed to be, because that's kind of one of his motifs is the Tiva sandals. So it's supposed to be his feet walking in, but we didn't have time. So that's why it's just my shoes for that shot. So the whole point, I mean, one of the ideas behind the video is that it's the Baron doing the Willet Caramel series. So that's where you never see his face. You'll just see his feet and his hands. So I'm not sure if that comes across very well, but hopefully it will once we have the sandals in place. But
I kind of forgot what it was that you were caramelizing.
Yeah,
like, is one thing.
Yeah.
I had to go back and watch it again, which might be okay, but I think the standout point for me is when you're painting it with chocolate.
Yeah.
I just want to see more of that. Like, it's so satisfying, and I didn't know that that's how he did it. So yeah, like that is so satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
That's really nice. 22 seconds and just keep that on repeat for a bit.
Yeah. I actually cut that a bit short on the video, so that's good to hear. Yeah. I definitely we struggled a little bit with the planning of the landscape portraits shooting, so that's what a bit definitely, that was a bit ad hoc. So trying to be a bit more savvy with that. for future for sure.
I think in CapCut though you can like trim it all to one way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm definitely still learning the CapCut, which I'm
Mhm.
navigating fairly well. I just find it sometimes a little bit fiddly on the phone.
Yeah.
It's the only
Yeah,
trouble
I
is
like the
once I look
desktop
at that-
version much better than
Oh,
the
the
phone.
desktop version. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I have
Yeah.
to check that out for sure.
But
What does
cool.
everyone think of the
It's a fun
Hasselhoff
little,
meter?
Yeah, so that was the idea. It didn't quite come through. We're supposed to have some sort of writing on there as well to sort of give a bit more information about where the arrow was landing. Like it's like a rating system is what we were trying to come up with, sort of a
Yeah.
bit of a stop motion animation rating system of sorts. And we have that in the shop already. That wheel. So like, well, maybe we can utilize that, but it definitely needs a bit more work. That little setup. So I'm not sure whether that's a paper or not, but
I really like it. Like I don't think there's like definitely stuff we're gonna improve on, but I think the good parts of it is that like the same as what we said with Jennifer last time is that last week is like you've got all the elements there, the story's being told. I think is that's the hardest piece in this is that you've got the story structure right. There's heaps of things we can fix, obviously. There's heaps of things we can fix in videos that get 10 million views. But so we can sit here and criticize the hell out of it. But like actually, first of all, I think it's good to acknowledge that like you've got the structure right. Now it's going, okay, as in you've got it in sequence and order, and now it's probably just going, how do we optimize that story structure to get the most out of it? You know, like for instance, the thing I would probably start on is the gochujang straight away. And then you could still do the little reference to Baron somehow, like still have that. I like the idea of like this unseeable character. You're never going to actually see his face. I really like that idea that there's a character, there's a mascot in there that you'll never know. And then if they see other videos of you guys, it's always you guys, but you're not the Baron. So I really like that. But I think the hook pieces is the fact that you're using gochujang to make caramel. You know what I mean? Like that's the hook. It's like the one with the chili that we watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Right.
the lagomite,
Yeah.
ice cream, yeah.
the ice cream one. It's like because it's it's what got Nick so fired up.
Yeah.
Why would they
Oh,
do
yeah.
this? Oh, like, you know, we want that.
yeah.
But like,
So I mean,
me
just
and Jamie watched
having
it, and we were both like, "Oh my god,
Amazing.
I need this! Like, I want to eat this so bad," you know. So like, you'll get both reactions, and the faster we can get that up front, the better. I think.
right.
But I actually like.
What's some tips?
I
mean, just
I
having
also-
it more in charts or
I just think it's that like that bit there. I mean, you could always push it to the camera.
It's
Right.
just essentially like a lot of small things, like 1% changes that might like elevate the video. So like Sam said, like your storytelling of actually getting to the finished product. And then you obviously have like your rating system, which is your resolution. Like you have a strong structure there.
Yeah.
It's all these small things like your top-down shot is like slightly unstable. It's not being held by a tripod or something. I'm not quite sure.
yeah.
It's not like squared off.
Yeah, it's just those little things that like
Like,
distracts the viewer. It pulls us out of it.
Really, really small things.
Yeah, they're tiny things. Because actually, the hardest thing in all
Yeah.
this is structure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Way
there's
is
quite
like
a
if you
few
add-
hot points in the down shot, so you could just take like a white sheet so that the lights are not kind of like hot in one spot and then in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing we definitely struggle with with lighting.
Yeah, you can tell that there.
Yeah.
The
Like
lighting's
if you think
really-
about a cloudy day, photos always look amazing. So you kind of just want to create clouds is the simplest thing.
Right, diffuse the light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also find like you need good light when you do a top-down shot, but you don't need good light if you're doing like a dimensional shot. So like if you had the pot, like the side of the pot kind of angled that way, and you understand the dimensions of the pot and where the light is coming from, it's much more visually appealing. But if you were doing a top-down shot, that's the same with Jennifer actually. We said it's the lighting, right?
Yeah.
But you can actually, instead of just fixing your lighting, just get a better angle from a different place rather than that top down one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can still
Right.
do both, like definitely. It's just that you have options. Like you don't have to do this top down thing. You can do quick cuts of you making the caramel with the Baron's hands or whether with the gloves or whatever from like this angle or wherever. Yeah.
For the way I think of
Yeah.
that, if that helps at all, is a different way to explain it. When you're doing stuff that's you can't see depth, like if you can't see depth, like so top down, you can't tell depth, that it's a 2D picture. That's when you want the lighting to be real flat, and that's where you want the sheet, or you want like a soft box or something to and get really good lighting. Because you can't see depth, you need no shadows, because shadows then fuck with your head and they play it up. As soon as you tilt it off axis, as soon as you take it away from being like flat on top or flat sideways, sideways sometimes can still work, but
Yeah.
when
Like
you
super square.
super
Any
square,
of these.
yeah,
Like
as soon as you
really
take
good-
it off axis, lighting's nowhere near as important, because like Joni said, the shadows add the textual element to it
Yeah.
that makes it more intriguing.
Right.
So if you can't get lighting, maybe it is that you're just doing an off-axis shot instead.
Right. I
but-
mean, one thing I was trying to do was just to sort of keep it to a limited amount of shot angles, I guess, to sort of create structure, but I'm not sure if that's really important in that storytelling, or like,
We could
you know, just
definitely
trying to keep
send
it
you
sort of straight on or
examples of
straight
stuff that's
down.
not. We definitely could send you guys examples because I know Jennifer would like appreciate it as well. You guys got the same thing going on. Of
Yeah.
people who do maybe more like front on or angled or whatever, and it still
Yeah,
works.
you get a couple of
Yeah,
examples,
definitely.
and you can also mix
Okay.
them. You
Yeah, you
definitely
could do
mix them.
both. Like this shot of like the pieces coming out of the kind of conveyor, you can add that. Even it's like a flat shot, but then you can have some of the actual cooking of you stirring the pot like on the side, so you can see the Baron's hands or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
there's no real bad bits there. It's just that there's some like real basic rules of thumb on certain things. Like, but actually, I'm not really mad about this. Like, I think
No.
the main thing that needs to be fixed here, honestly, is just orientation. That's it. Like actually, like getting it all vertical 9:16 format is the main thing for short form video platforms, because that's the way that the platforms work, right? They take up the full screen, so you just want it vertical, a vertical video the whole way through. And I mean, in some of these shots that you've got, like the one where it's coming out of the conveyor belt, I mean, you would just rotate it and the shot's perfect.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones that you took, like, let me just quickly share. I can't share sound, but like this shot here. Oh, this one potentially could just be rotated, potentially, because
Yeah.
the way it is, because actually the hands are at the bottom, actually.
Yeah.
But there's some other ones
Right.
like, maybe not. Maybe they all could.
Yeah.
You could potentially just rotate them.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
first one, Def. This Def. I don't know.
Right.
The first one, maybe. I don't know. But I would start here anyway. I know. I get what you're trying to do with that first one, but I want to know. I want to know
You want to
what's like.
start there.
Yeah, and I want this first frame. I want to know the entire video.
Yeah.
I want to know.
So would you have
Will it caramel go to jungle or something? You know,
It's not even that you want to know, it's that we're telling you and now you can figure it out. That's why it's so important for that first couple of seconds to be the thing, the context, everything.
right.
Yeah, so not just making me intrigued, it's like, oh, I actually know what I'm about to watch,
Yeah.
and now I can decide, will I watch it or not? When you
Right.
don't know what you're about to watch, people will just kind of like scroll past.
they'll always decide not to watch. Yeah.
What about this
And then
stuff
every-
that's, sort of in the shot, as far as the equipment being used, and does anyone have any, like the pot and all this kind of jazz? We're thinking we maybe sort of get some specific equipment just for this video shoot, some sort of nicer
I
looking.
mean, yeah, but like I
pieces,
think
but-
you can, but that's not the thing that I think is going to change it. I think
No one has
like you
any
can
theories about
eventually.
that.
First of all, you've got to get the video perfect to make it hit, and then invest in more stuff.
Okay.
But like that's the 1% stuff.
Yeah.
Like getting a perfect
Okay.
pot and all this perfect setup is not going to
Yeah.
be the difference. It's not.
Okay.
I can find you plenty of examples of guys who've got beautiful sets and making shit, and they get 200 views on their videos because
Right.
actually the content sucks. Like, it's and then I can show you videos that are terribly shot and have 400 million views.
Right.
You know? So I think first of all, let's get the video perfect, like the storytelling perfect, because like that's what I want to see here. I want to come along and see this. I think my biggest feedback is just orientation, which I think is kind of obvious when it goes, oh, we're gonna put this on Instagram or TikTok, right? But actually, my main thing I want to see someone eat it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hard out.
I want to see someone eat because I want to feel like what they're feeling. You know,
Okay.
I want to know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to see, and if it's a close up, maybe of Baron's mouth eating it, or if it's him giving it to Aaron, maybe, you know, because it's your hand. So it's him giving it to Aaron
Right.
to try. You know, so I just want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see consumption, and then that gives the rating.
Yeah.
And I kind of want the
Okay.
like your rate. What I liked about your rating is it gives it some suspense, but I kind of like it as, I might be wrong here. This isn't that big of a deal. It's a 1% thing, but I kind of like it as a scale because you went back and forth.
Yeah.
I kind of like it like I don't know where it's going to stop, and then I get 4 Barons out of 5,
Yeah.
or 4 caramels out of 5 or something, you know. And then now I know. I don't know if that's a big deal. It's not a huge deal. I don't think it's a deal breaker, but and then lastly, lastly the ends. You don't need the end slide because
On your account.
it's on your account, and also no one
Okay.
needs to watch it. And all it's going to do is it's going to ruin your retention time because people swipe off it. They'll know it's the end of it, and every second counts. So when the video is finished, you finish the video because you want people to consume the whole thing. And if they see an end slide, they swipe straight off. So, just small little things, but I really like it. Like I think like you get better lighting on some of the stuff, like the butter bubbling, like you know that it looks great. Like
Yeah, all the visuals.
it looks so good. This bit here, like looks great. I just want to see it more. Like that bit there, I want to see more of.
Yeah, and I
Or
should have
tipping
put it
into
in the
the
middle of the
tray.
pan as well. But
Yeah. I just
Aaron
want
was
to
in
watch
the way
more of
with the camera.
that bit.
Yeah.
I think like what Roman was
Okay.
saying, like I want to see this like painted, like
I
really
almost-
satisfying.
I also want to see like the dip of.
Oh, the dip of the brush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
So
good.
Ah,
you
really
know what
tipping
it
in the top
is,
of it.
because
Okay.
I think we're all confused as to what it
Yeah.
It's actually-
What is it? Yeah.
Okay.
being put on top.
That's true. And you know, satisfying videos, they start like I would start. You want to see it complete. You know, you want to see the whole thing, so you watch it slowly get completed. Yeah, I like it. It's so what I mean by that. Sorry, I might not explain myself properly. It's less satisfying because you have to come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you did like swipe slowly to left to right, fully.
It's
Alright,
more
okay.
satisfying as a viewership because it's like when you go through this
The conveyor belt.
Conveyor
it's the same.
belt, it's
It's
the
like
same
it's
thing.
one fluid motion, right?
this is so
Right,
satisfying.
okay.
These shots are so good.
Yeah, these are great.
I want one of these.
I think if you're
Conveyor
going to
belts
go
in my
backwards
house.
and forwards, it needs to be like the way that people clean the window,
Yeah.
like a one
Yeah.
kind of move.
Yeah.
Mr. Miyagi.
One
You could-
full movement. Yeah.
Mr.
One full
Miyagi.
sweep.
Caramel on, caramel off.
Yeah.
Caramel off. But honestly, it's really good. Like, I
Super
want to
cool.
try it. Was it good?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Was
We
it
had
good
a
or
lot of
bad?
fun putting it together. We had a lot of fun making it. And definitely
Did it
gave
taste
us
nice?
a real appreciation of
Give me a sample.
what people do to make these videos as well, you know, like how much
Yeah.
time and mental energy
Yeah.
it takes to, especially in the middle of a workday as well, when you've got everything else to do. You know,
Did it taste
and
nice,
other people working in the
Clayton?
kitchen. Yeah, it did.
Did it
Yeah, it
taste
was
nice?
okay, but definitely I didn't put enough of the gochujang in there, but
yeah.
lessons learned. More is more.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
is more.
I should have done way more. But yeah. No,
Yeah.
it was heaps of fun. Yeah, and I think that was Aaron's feedback as well, was that I should have been spooning it out of the container into the pot
Oh
rather
yeah.
than from a bowl. I was like, okay, yeah. So then I guess gets the gochujang in the shot again later on.
Yeah. Something that's quite interesting for you guys, it's a bit different to Jennifer because Jennifer's is a bit harder to do, I think, because of the type of food. But with yours, like you could make a batch and there's only a couple that can be bought on the store, on the website.
Hmm.
And then it's
Yeah,
just
well,
like, it's just a race to buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We thought about that if it got sort of would make some sort of arbitrary thing. If it got 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, then we would release that batch, you know. Something
Well,
along those lines.
even if it tastes like crap, like just think about jelly beans or those jelly bellies or whatever. Like they sell ones that taste like vomit and people buy them. So even if you put the 1 out of 5 caramels on there,
Yeah. Or
people
even
might
if it's
start
just at
buying
the
them.
store. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Would you
Yeah.
you think that's a good business move?
At the store, you could even do it as tastings.
Yeah.
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 You know,
I mean,
'cause, like,
definitely would get people
Or a mystery one.
A mystery one.
A mystery
I mean,
one.
yeah,
They
we-
don't.
yeah,
They
we
won't
could
until they
definitely
eat
think
it.
about
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
if you get the videos to work and they start going off, people don't care if it's good. People want to be part of the community. They want to be part of the crew. It's like as his cook who does Ashby pies here in Auckland, like he'll put out a flavor and like it'll be good because he knows how to use flavors. He's a chef. He knows how to do it. But like they're always sometimes a little bit weird. Some not always, but sometimes they're not quite perfect. But he'll sell the whole batch, and people will come and try it, and they give him a rating, going, "Oh look, this is his feedback. This is my feedback on your pie," kind of thing. And they feel part of the community because they get to help him engineer his new products. It's like it's called co-creation. Is essentially like the term these days that you have your audience help you co-create the new products that you bring to life. And so they're getting to come in and taste that, giving you feedback, and then you can reiterate and try it again, put out another video, goes viral, and then eventually you get to the perfect thing and then you sell it properly. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay. There's some feedback there. Cool.
Cool. Thank you. But what about the length of the video? Anyone was it
Nothing wrong.
too long or too short or?
No.
I think it was about 45 seconds. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
For everyone in general, like length of video is not a concern. Like it could be 5 minutes long, it could be 5 seconds long. Like so long as you're completing the structure and everything in between feels like a necessity to be in there and helps push the narrative along. If it's not pushing the narrative along and it just like get rid of it, but in terms of like a specific time, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't go over 10 minutes on TikTok, so maybe not 10 minutes. I'm not over 10 minutes, but it's not a concern.
No, it's not a concern.
Okay.
One of my biggest videos of the last month is a 9-minute 50 video or whatever.
Oh yeah, you're
my super long one. Like, length is I totally agree with Jenny. Just don't worry about length. That story structure, that's the important thing. The structure was right. Yeah.
Okay.
Structure was perfect. Awesome.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool. I was going to start off actually, but he's not here, so I'm not going to. I was going to start off with some of Kylie's posts because I know he's posted a whole bunch. But I wanted to talk about. Well, first of all, I wanted to ask if anyone had any other videos they want us to watch today and go through. If anyone's made any in the time, and if not, I was going to go and talk about LinkedIn posts today for a little bit, and then I was going to jump in at the end to talk about Jennifer's audience on her big viral videos that she's got, and just have dissect the analytics a little bit with everyone, just so everyone can see what it looks like to jump into analytics. Are we good with that, or has anyone got anything else they want to do today?
I've just got one question before you jump into that.
Please.
Because it's about the analytics thing. So I just kind of recently created the TikTok thing, and I noticed I can't start my analytics before I post a video. Like, is it like how important is the first video? Do I like? Is it okay? Could be just any shit, or like one of those abstract ones or something, just to kind of so that I'm allowed to do it, and then is it all good?
That's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah,
it's fine. It doesn't like.
Flag you.
It's not going to flag you for it. Yeah, it's not inappropriate content or anything like that. So like, it's fine. It's fine. There's no harm in it.
And later, if you actually don't want that video, then you post your library videos. You just remove it. Like,
Yeah, just delete it.
Yeah, because we did. One of my colleagues, I had some sort of like flashy kind of stuff going on, and he posted it on his LinkedIn, and he goes, "Roman, you're killing my LinkedIn." Like straight away, he was getting negative stuff, and I think, yeah, that's the only reason, only hesitation I had was just,
what was he getting? Negative reactions.
Yeah, people were going, "Oh, it's too flickery or too kind of like disorienting."
Yeah. All the old people on LinkedIn, it's too much for them. Nah. I mean, look, you want that feedback because then that tells you, okay, well, maybe people don't like to see that. If it's all 90% or 100%, like it's an overwhelmingly negative feedback, like, then it isn't good. And it might be objectively not good, like actually, like from a short form video perspective, that people just don't want to see it. So that might give you enough feedback to go, okay, cool, well, let's try to do less of that and more something else. Cool. But so negative feedback isn't always bad, but it is mostly bad when it's really hot, like almost all of it is negative. Then something's going on there. Yeah. Cool. For people to like post negative commentary when there is no other commentary, that's like a big deal. Like it doesn't happen very rarely. You'll put something up and people like just jump in hating it, unless it's like rage baiting. Yeah. That's a whole different thing, right? Like
you're asking for negative.
Yeah, you're asking for negative stuff. Like we sometimes put stuff in our videos that definitely get people to comment negative stuff. But
you were baiting them, like.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other questions or anything before we go on to LinkedIn posts and things like that? No. Cool. And what about the room in Ponsonby? You guys all good to just go through LinkedIn stuff? Yeah.
It's got it.
Okay. Rod's got a video. Do you want to watch this video?
It's just the edited version. We put the POV up and just edited a little bit, took on a bit of advice, and we can either watch it and get some feedback or not. Either or, bro. Up to you.
Okay, no, let's do it. Let's all watch it because that's what I want to do. I wanted to do videos first, so okay. Let's watch that. So if everyone goes back into the teams, watch Rod's video, and then we'll have a quick chat about it, and then we'll jump into LinkedIn posts. Yeah.
Special which video, Rod? You got it there.
Did we mute that one?
I can't share it on this machine, but they've got it on.
Can they still hear us? Stan might have muted us.
All right. Oh, they're still watching. Download them. It's streams at such a low quality.
That is effectively what happens every time I get home with my son now. Just do that to me the whole fucking night. Like I'll get home and he'll be like all around me the whole fucking evening. So he's so into his kickboxing, it's all he does, and it's like a fly. It's just like, go away, leave me alone.
Love it. Any feedback? I've got some feedback. I'll just quickly tell mine and then let everyone else go. My only feedback, I've got two things. The on-screen text, I just want to move it up. One, it's in you're going to have captions sitting over top of it in most of the social media sites, so you're not going to be able to read it anyway. I just chuck it up. Like I'm a bit worried that it might cover his head. I'm not sure if that matters, and maybe that his neck. Here, yeah, maybe around his collar. I'd put it around there on Dacia's collar,
or even smack bang in the middle.
Or smack bang, yeah. I just want to move it up. One, because visual hierarchy, I want people to see that really clearly in first, and also they're not going to see it if it's down too low. And also, I think it's a little bit too wide, as in I think the edges might get caught off on different phones. because of the just safe zones, essentially, just to make sure your POV's in the middle. Tiny thing. And then at the end, there's a bit where he's like better and he taps him. That's it, end of video. Right there. It's like you got 4 seconds more of video that just doesn't do anything. Just kill it at better. Yeah.
That's what they should do, because it goes too long.
Yeah. We do a thing, and this is like for everyone, not just you guys, but we get really biased when we like something because we were in the moment of it. When we filmed it, we enjoyed it or whatever. And so we have this attached memory to it. And then we put it in the video and we forget that no one else gives a fuck. But it's common. I do it all the time, literally all the time. I put these random bits that no one cares about, but I put it in because I had this bias of like emotional connection to it, when really you just have to remove it, because then it's just, like we said, every second counts. So it's not gonna be received by a random person, then it's not worth putting it in.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else got feedback for Rod?
I liked it. I really liked how you changed the ending. It makes me happier now.
Yeah, agreed.
Did you guys understand what we're saying by safe zones, by the way? Sorry, like Stan just kind of was like, oh yeah, safe zones. So do you guys know what safe zones are? No. Some no, some
Just
yeah.
in frame, right? In frame.
So safe zone is essentially like, you post on social media. So on the side, you'll have like the likes, the comments, the shares, and then you'll have at the bottom where you write the caption and, your description essentially. And then at the top it'll say things like for you page or blah, blah, blah. So you want to avoid all those sides because there'll be things covering it, but also naturally when you upload a video, it will punch in a little bit just to make sure that it's, full screen on the app. And so when it punches in, that means the size of your video gets cropped out and you don't want anything kind of exceeding those safe zones. So they're kind of like, that stands.
So like there, caption,
right.
the like stuff on the side here. Up the top, you've got a few like search bars and stuff. That's Instagram. And then like TikTok is, on TikTok it's similar. You've got like captions, things, and up there, and then also the video width, like what Joni's just saying, is that it doesn't, sometimes it'll crop in, it'll just push in a little bit, so just give yourself a little bit extra room. There are templates you can find online called just TikTok safe zones, Instagram safe zones, and it'll show you like it's where it is.
Just like for like rule of thumb, like just something simple. Just imagine a much smaller rectangle in that rectangle of like the actual frame and try to concentrate everything in there. So like faces and text and all of that, try concentrate it in the mid section. So not too far. And probably if you like split it into thirds, that middle third, really try concentrate there. And same both ways, this way and this way. Try concentrate everything around that third. It doesn't have to be like all smack bang center, but roughly around there.
Yeah, it actually works better if it's sitting on the third lines, like the old school photography
looks and everything.
Old school photography stuff. Yeah, framing. Yeah, cool. Any other feedback from Rod before we move on to LinkedIn stuff? No. Okay, cool. Let's jump on LinkedIn. So, just to reiterate why we're doing LinkedIn is I still think there's a big opportunity for a lot of you guys on LinkedIn and your brands. And so that's one. I think there's opportunity for all of you on LinkedIn to be pushing there, and I want you to, and not enough people do. And with short form video coming, there's even more opportunity on the platform to be early and first on it. The second thing is when we write in the structure we're going to go through, or the structure that Charlotte took you through and the structure that we went through last week, which is essentially the same as video, set up conflict resolution, but we talked about it as headline, subheading, challenge, solution. That structure, when you start to write more like that, you start to see story structure a lot better. So then when you go into video and you start writing out or planning out a video, you just have structure in your head all the time. Because once you master structure, then you have the ability to break structure. But until then, you don't want to break structure. You want to stick to structure because structure is just like an easy hack to make a good story, right? You don't want to get too advanced too quick because most people can't. Most people should just stick to structure. Like Disney doesn't go off structure. Disney's movies are always in structure, always follow the hero's journey every single time, and look at where Disney is. So don't think we're better than Disney. Just stick to structure as much as you can, unless you really, really know something and then you want to break it. So that's what I want to just preface with all of this. So what I'm going to do is that everyone's got a bunch of posts in there. So I'm going to share my screen. We're all going to read them again together. And then we're just going to have a little chat about everyone's posts and just see where it is. And then I'll get you everyone's feedback on what they think. And then the three of us will give you guys some more feedback. And I might, because he probably will kill me for throwing him on the bus, but I might get Nate to speak a bit more because Nate's actually really good at these LinkedIn posts. Like his whole thing about, if you read his stuff, that's really good. So let's shut up, Stan, and let's share this. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top, and we're going to start with Rod's. So why don't we just all quickly read it, and then we'll talk.
I can't read through my glasses.
Can you make it bigger?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
can you make it
I can
slightly bigger?
Yep, I can get bigger. Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah,
More.
Much better, thank you.
Okay, cool. So. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Okay, what are our thoughts?
I'll let you guys go first, and then I'll rip into Rod.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah, like it sounds like expertise and caring, empathetic.
You're on mute, Roman.
I got lost when you talk about group sessions. Just felt like a kind of an abrupt shift, like a small consistent about them, and then we ended 20 minutes of group sessions. Like I didn't know if I went out of that at that point there.
Yeah, that's good feedback.
And maybe more life is probably a little bit vague as well as a resolution.
True.
All right. Any more? Any more before I
I'll leave it to you, Nate.
get punched in the face by Rod?
Heavyweight.
Do you know what? To be fair, it's not actually too bad. I'm not going to come at you because you've not done this before. It's not actually that bad. However,
It's got structure. It's got structure.
Yeah, it's got a structure. So I always write it in the shortest form I can. Now, there's some argument to say that is a style that it will or will not be out of fashion, but I still find great success in it just being real, like the sentences being really short, because and that's the thing around, like when you read something, you kind of want your audience to read it downwards, not across, because they get lost and they get a bit bored. And you've got quite long sentences in there with lots of commas. I always never use a comma, just go to the next line. I think the first line's not at all relatable. However, the second line is. You see what I mean? Like everyone, if there's an injury, like everyone's had an injury, so that's actually quite a relatable thing. Whereas we're not moving how we want to is not really relatable to me at all. I don't really understand what it means. So you probably want to always go in with your most relatable thing that most people will have experienced and therefore will be interested in reading about. Which you've got, like most of us had injuries and we've learned to live with them, or something along those lines is much more, for me, it's much more like, okay, I've had an injury, that sets something off in my head that is instantly relatable. And again, like you just got a little bit convoluted and a bit lost in the middle. To try and keep, like, another good way to look at it is just write all your words down and then read it again and go, what words in this sentence do I not need? What words do I not need in this sentence? And there's obviously loads of them in every sentence. So medication, stretching and therapy help deal with the symptoms, and just take loads of those words away. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize my mic was on. I'm just talking to my son. Sorry.
Either make your sentences shorter or line break them so that in your post is much easier to read. And I don't know what more life means. You kind of need to go, it's literally that structure. You need to go, relatable thing at the front, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Here's my solution. Aren't I smart, or isn't this cool?
Yeah.
But how do you think that's done?
Just probably mostly reiterating what you said, to be honest. Like that's pretty much it. Like I agree with the first line's not relatable enough. Like this isn't the right thing for this, but in my mind, what it gives me is like as millennials, like for you and me, Rod, at least, like we are I know this for me for sure, is how do I now have sore back? Like that was an old person's thing. No, it's because I'm old, so it's like that's a real relatable thing for other millennials. It's like, since when did millennials get sore backs? Like, aren't we too young for that kind of thing? Like, there's something in that of like everyone listening and reading and going, yeah, why do I pay for stretching? Like I'm too young. I think in my head I'm too young for this. So there's something relatable that you could hook people into at the beginning, which is that most of us have injuries we've learned to live with, because that's kind of what's happening there. Like, so
I think
just
that
reiterating
that is quite a good one when you just said, I'm too young for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's so funny. And
Yeah.
like, my partner's a few years younger, so she's millennial and I'm like a young Gen X or whatever. And it's so funny because she turned 40 and then started complaining. It's just really, really like, oh, I'm too young for this. No, you're not.
Yeah. No,
This is
you're not.
why I have to do all the boring stretches. Yeah.
I think another thing that is I think is really key, and I think Stan will agree on this as well, is that the most important thing in a LinkedIn post is the display of passion. Yeah. I think that by passion in whatever it is that you're talking about, no matter how fucking dull, and the reader can get that passion, that's where you get the numbers. Like that's where people will get sucked in and they'll read about it. It's a really simple thing. So even if your subject's not that interesting, if you're passionate about it and you display that passion in your writing, that's going to be a winning post.
Yeah.
And I think that you've got the ability to be, even if you're angry, passionate, like it doesn't have to be just, you know what I mean? Like if you give a fuck, you've just got to show that you really give a fuck. And people get behind you. That's a real trick that I've learned. It's like the more passion that you put in it, and the more like even be a bit angry or a bit fucked off or a bit like fuck everyone. I mean, I talk to Stan about this a lot. I use swear words in my headlines all the time now because I know they work. Right? I just swear in the headline, and I don't put the swear word. I put star like F star the, and they work. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just dumb. It's like I can be a fool because I've done enough of it to get to the point where I can say the shit I say. And I don't think everyone can say that, or everyone would want to say the shit I say. But it's just a passion thing, I think. And I find that the more you push it, the more response you get.
Yeah. Overemphasize the emotion that you're trying to get across. But make sure people feel. It's exactly that. You want people to feel something when they read it.
Yeah, and that's the use of the short sentences really helps that, I think, because you like and it makes it feel like you're being you're really emotional about it.
Yeah. Could I shorten those sentences and just add more of them? Is that okay?
Yeah, as long as it, like, for me, it's when you look at it, it's like, is this easy to read or not? Right?
I don't like
paragraphs, and like people they will sometimes, if they're a massive fan of yours, they will read lots of stuff. Yeah. But the general note is, if it's short, then I'm more likely to read it because it's not such a bore. Like I've got time.
There's the way I think about it too, Rod, is like if the sentence is structured right and short enough, it's not necessarily length. It's like I want to be able to glance and read it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to go left to right to read it. I want to be able to glance read it. It's not always necessarily length. It's like well-known phrases, like if you say stuff the way we talk all the time, and then like and phrases that are real common to read, they can be quite long, but we know them, so we know exactly what you've said. You know,
Yeah.
like, does that make sense? Like, if you saw the quick brown fox, like most people would know what the rest of the sentence said, you know, because we know it. It's something that would pick it up straight away, and then you could go straight to the next one. And so, it obviously length does play a part into it, obviously, but you just want to peel off to a snapshot, and then they go down, like Nate said, they read down instead of across. And that's for everyone. That's a LinkedIn thing specifically. Like, it's optimal for that platform. Obviously, on like Instagram and stuff, and like inside it, saying you can write that way too. There's no harm. I mean, captions aren't that big in Instagram really, but this is a LinkedIn thing. Like, don't go and write a novel like this because people would fucking lose their shit. Maybe we should just for shits and gigs.
Another thing. So when I started writing in advertising, and I was like, I wasn't a writer, I was doing something else, and I started writing, and the people kept coming up to me going, such a good writer. And I was like, what the fuck? I've no idea. It turned out it was because I'm dyslexic. So I wrote my copy without any big words in it. And apparently advertising copy, well, I know that now, advertising copy is always real simple and no big words. And that's another thing to think about. Like, don't try and be too super smart with your vocab. Keep it real fucking simple. Just keep the words really simple. Doesn't make you look dumb, makes the point come across easier.
Yeah.
And it's just really worth knowing, like, you shouldn't be using any words with more than 3 syllables. Like, you just shouldn't do it unless you really have to, because you don't need to. And it just means that it's harder for someone to read it.
Yeah.
Real simple language is like, even though you want to be clever and you want to be verbose and you want to be all these like smart things, just keep it really dumb. Just keep it dumb. You know, like if you think about dialogue in movies, they're just like dumb words mostly. Right? Marvel doesn't use big words in its movies. It's true. It's fucking true.
No, it's true. It's just funny.
They don't write a script with massive big words in it because no one wants to listen to that. They want to listen to like The Rock saying, I am fucking cool, or whatever it is, right? But that's the mass. That's where you gotta remember you're talking to.
Rod, on this one, and some examples, like some ways I would do it, like these words here, like what Nate's talking about, they're like 3 big words that are not everyday language. And so, but actually, I don't know if you can take those out in this context, but one way you can fix it is you could write this in 3 lines. Like I do this, like the rule of 3 is like real common in a lot of stuff, right? Like if you repeat stuff 3 times, it is really pleasing to our head. So for instance, it could be most of us have injuries we've learned to live with, and we see it in our gym members. And then you could have medication is often a solution. Stretching is another one. Therapy is another one. You know, like you're emphasizing each of the things, but on a separate sentence in a real easy to read sentence. Like therapy is another one. And then you go into your solution. Does that make sense? So you're like taking these 3 real heavy words that next to each other is like a fucking mouthful of a sentence to read. But if you split each of them up because you want to make sure you get the points across, then you can get each of these sentences across really simply in simple, quick sentences. And then another trick is like strengthening isn't a common word, but stronger is more common and more basic, and they mean kind of the same thing. So it could be make key areas stronger, right? Make key areas stronger is way more simpler than strengthening key areas. I know it doesn't seem crazy, but it just is. Strong and stronger is a more simpler way of saying strengthening, even though it's not necessarily the same thing. Make stronger is strengthening, but make stronger is more simple. If that makes sense.
You could just drop this into ChatGPT and go make this simple, and then it'll churn it out, and then you just churn it out. It'll come out simple, and you can just rewrite to make sure it doesn't look like you've done it in chat. Like that's a real simple tip to do it. Just make this post more simple.
And my only other feedback on this, Rod, is I want the solution stronger. I want you to give me something to do. You know, like I don't want to care about the group sessions that you've got. I don't understand. Are you just trying to sell me your group sessions? Of course you are, but you don't need to blatantly tell me that you are. Just give me something real simple to do. Yeah, you could go, the stretch that you see me doing is called XYZ. If you just did this for 15 or 30 seconds a day each side, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know what it is. But just give me something, especially with what you do. Give me something real tangible I can do today that is like going to help me with my mobility. It's something real simple. Or even if it's just like There's a link in the comments to like a really good YouTube clip that gives you a 5-minute mobility routine that you can do each day.
So you can post videos. You could
just
do a video doing the thing.
Yeah, you can just do a video of it. Yeah, true. But yeah, give me a stronger solution. Give me something takeaway. Like give me more to it. Cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. Great photo, by the way.
Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it'll. I'm LinkedIn and people will stop scrolling. Trust me. Okay, Tonga, you're next. Okay, everyone read and then we'll have a chat.
Well, let's get reading.
Oh, do you want me to zoom in more?
Yes, please.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Bit better?
Yeah.
All right. Feedback? Who wants to have a crack? And who wants to give some feedback?
Pretty long.
Cool.
I got a bit lost on how it got you into trouble, and my expectations for the post were different than what I read. It was a bit confusing to me. From that second line, maybe.
Yeah. Anyone else?
I got the passionate part massively come through. So I enjoyed that.
What was the feedback so far?
Long.
Too long, yeah.
A bit long and a little bit lost.
Lost, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. Another thing you can do is literally write down a bit of paper, write headline, subheader, 1, 2, 3, conclusion. So write that down as a little format and then just write out the bits of your post that fit in each section. So what's your headline? What's your subhead that explains what you're about to say? What are 3 points that support that? And then what's the thing you want to say at the end? And that can often take away quite a lot of the fluff from your post.
Yeah, that's great advice.
It doesn't, it sort of stops the repeat, and it just gives you it's like when you do a speech, if you're going to talk in front of people, you do the same thing. You go, what's my setup? What are my 3 points? And then you just make a plan rather than just go and talk on stage and talk rubbish. And I think for this, it's a really good thing to do as well. Just write those, because it's only actually 6 beats you've got to hit. And if you can write a post in 6 sentences, then that's a win. Right? Because your post is going to be easy to read, easy to write, not going to take much time, and it's going to work.
What about also something universal? Like, I think this is I've been thrown in the deep end and I'm still thriving, so like maybe that's the start, like even been thrown in the deep end and come out better. I don't know exactly how to phrase that, but something that says, you know, because you're not an architect, so I'm not an architect either. But I'm not gonna. I don't think I would stop to read about not being an architect, but I would probably read about being thrown in the deep end because, like for me, I super relate to that because the time that I started teaching was pretty much like the professor goes, "Hey, you're smart," push me out in front of 300 students, and then I was just go. So I think pretty much everyone has had that. Like that's just the start. Okay, hi, nice to meet you. Push you in, and so I think like that's what is happening here. So been thrown in the deep end and learned to swim. And then for me, I'm not an architect, but I'll figure it out. You know, I don't know exactly how to phrase it, but
Yeah, I
something
like that.
I like that though, Roman. You're right. That's great advice. Like, what is the thing we can all relate to? Because
They're
we can't
really
all relate to
relatable.
being an architect.
When you lie in your CV.
I agree with Jennifer as well. I think that I don't understand how I'm not an architect fully translates to the rest of the post. I do when I really look at it, obviously, but I don't as well if I don't know you from a bar or so. You know, so I think there's not enough flow in this to keep me understanding why you started with I'm not an architect. I don't get it off the bat. I have to really concentrate to read this, which means I'm not going to read it. Right? I only read it. Actually, I was on the third line here, and then I realized I started fidgeting on the screen doing something else, and I was like, oh shit, I meant to be reading a post. I actually got off the I actually stopped and I had to pull myself back to read it. I started playing around with the Teams thing to do something, and I was like, oh, I'm meant to be reading Tonga's post. And it's because I got lost. Like I didn't know where it was taking me. And so I don't think there's anything like necessarily wrong with the thing that you've got in there, but it's just I got lost of why I was meant to be there. Fuck.
But the message and everything is great. Like it's a cool story. It's a really cool story. Just need a
structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just need structure. Does that make sense, Tonga? About structure? Did you hear us?
Just like relatability.
Yeah. Yeah. For my advice, and if you can hear me, oh, you got us? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're breaking up a little bit, Tonga. But I'll say some stuff and then you can watch back, or you might be able to hear me. But my fix to this would be, first of all, take Nate's point. Actually, that's a really good point. I used to do this a lot myself. Headline, subheading, 1, 2, 3, essentially the conflict that and then solution at the bottom. And I used to write to that, and I'd put one line for headline, one line for subheading. I would keep my conclusion to no more than 3 bullet point lines, and then the solution, the same thing, 3 lines. And then I would try to write to that, and I'd say, do I need to take stuff out or add stuff in? Like, is there enough information? Do I need to add more? Sometimes you might. Sometimes I need to take stuff out. But it forces me to write the first draft as this really simplified post where I don't have any other fluff in it, and I get the structure right. And then my second advice would be to take Roman's advice, which is great advice, which is get the relatability piece, which was the same we said to Rod. It's like, I'm not an architect, but you aren't selling to architects. You're selling to all of us. You're selling to everyday people. So you need all of us to feel your plight and understand what you're going through and relate to it. Yeah. Cool. Keep the story though. Like, keep that story. Just rewrite it. Just rewrite it again. And even if you rewrite it, chuck it back in the chat and we'll have another go at it over the week. Cool. All right. Who's our next person we got in there? Roman. We got Roman's one. All right. Everyone have a read and then we'll come back. We'll share feedback.
Where's Roman's one? I first started teaching.
Right.
Okay, feedback. My favorite one so far, not to throw everyone else under the bus, but I do like this one. I think there's some stuff to improve on, but I do like it. It's a good post.
Showing favoritism here.
A little bit, yeah.
What do you feel about that, Rob? A little bit like that.
He has to do it on purpose.
Yeah. Keep me up.
Don't worry, Jennifer's teacher's pets post hasn't come up yet.
Yeah. Jennifer will still take gold stars, so don't worry.
I'm terrified. I didn't go first this time, and I'm having to hear all this negative feedback, so I'm terrified.
We'll have no negative stuff left to say by the end of it.
Good.
I'll jump in and I'll give some feedback because I actually think this is a really good post. I really like it. I think the main feedback I'd give is simplification, because actually the story and the structure and everything's pretty damn good. I had to read it twice to understand it because the language was a bit too hard to follow. But I understood by the end of it that you wrote the task as a how-to guide. Wait, maybe I'm wrong here, but I read it as the thing you learned was that you give it as a how-to guide as well. Is that what it was? Yeah, cool. So I love it. It's great. It gets the point across. I love the everything is a call to action, everything is an instruction guide, everything is a teacher. I love that sort of stuff. You could potentially get a better headline potentially. But what I'd like about this is I can in myself put myself into when I first started my business, when I first started my job, when I first started anything, I didn't get it. So I think there is something in there. And then could you make it better? Yeah, potentially. But the only thing I would change, so outside of that, because I think is the headline and the subheading don't necessarily connect to the how-to guide piece. They don't necessarily. It doesn't tell, like reading those two things doesn't tell me that you're about to discuss this idea of how to better get people to display their knowledge to me.
The headline and the subheader are about 2/3 of the way down. The hard part isn't to find a teacher. The hard part is to pay attention.
Yeah.
Just that's your header and subheader.
Nice.
Done nailed.
Yeah,
You're on mute, Roman. You're on mute, bro.
I'm just saying thank you. Yeah, no, I can see that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
It's
good.
real obvious when other people I find it when you make something or do something like this, and then you put it in an arena where people look at it. As soon as they start looking at it, you're like, oh fuck, that's obvious. Before they even tell you, usually you can figure it out. So it's a really good thing to do, is just show someone, and then you just figure it out on your own what the fuck's wrong with it. Just by doing that.
What are you gonna say?
It feels like a really long resolution. And so there's when Stan's teaching us how to write posts, it's like, heading, subheading, conflict resolution. But that conflict bit is the thing that everyone nods their head to. And they're like, oh yeah, that's me. Totally. And it's like the first two lines, like I get a glimpse of it a little bit, and then I stop head nodding. I'm like, oh, that's it. And then you go into like, this is what I did. And I didn't head nod long enough for me to actually want to read the rest of it because I didn't feel connected to the two lines.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Feels like he goes into solution too fast. Yeah, you could argue that. Yeah, I can see where you got that. Yeah, maybe it's because I was biased because he'd already told us this.
Yeah, so I knew what was happening. I had the context. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
that's
you
true.
told us the story already.
More of a conflict and how is it more relatable to other people? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like what Nate said too. The hard part isn't to find a teacher. That was a really good line. I really like that. That is definitely a headline, subheading. Hard part is to pay attention. And actually, because attention is it's one of the reasons I chose it as a name. Attention is a word that gets attention. Like, and especially in today's world where it's paying attention, because everyone talks about like no one can pay attention anymore because of the rise of TikTok and everyone's got attention spans and blah 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 and all this sort of crap and nonsense. I like it though. I think there's a simplification. Maybe look at the structure a little bit, like what Janie said. I didn't see that at first because, I kind of knew
Or you
Yeah.
use going.
But the challenge, yeah, maybe just get the challenge more succinct so that I understand it and I start nodding. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a cool concept as well, this how to. Like the more you've told me about it and reading this, like this is like should be a cornerstone of your brand actually. Because it's such a novel concept. And it is obviously a cornerstone of your actual brand. That's why you're speaking on stage about it.
Yeah.
Like so it's not even like that far of a departure.
Yeah.
No, totally. I mean, it was a funny one. I'm kind of good at getting people to think that an idea is their idea because I'm a teacher. That's kind of what I have to do is get people to think that it's their idea and then they love it and they go with it. And that accidentally happened with my boss recently. Like, so I've been doing this since 2011, something like that, someone says, hey, rewrite this. I'll make it as a how-to, like surprise. It's kind of what I do. And then kind of my new boss, we've been working together for about a year. She's so cool. But then at the same time, she's going, it's our how-to guide. You're going to go speak on it. Like, it's kind of hilarious because and for me, I'm just like, nah, this is my thing. This is my work. But yeah, so I definitely think that I can own this space, like of the
100%. It's such a good space.
It's a cool way to say like the best way of learning is teaching.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a very
that's
cool
exactly the story.
way because it makes so much more sense. It's like, yeah, I get it. I understand that. But when you say how to, it's like everyone searches up WikiHow and everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that common phrase that Joni just said is a headline for you for another post. 100%. The more you guys can use, good. Love it. The more you guys can use cliches for headlines, the better. And even better if you can, I forget what the word's called, but when you change the cliche slightly to make it on brand for you, like that's a bit advanced. Sometimes a bit hard because it can land really wrong, but cliches are good for headlines because it's what I was saying before is people don't have to read it left to right. They just see it and they snapshot it and go, oh, got it. And so as we go, we're going to keep going down because I think there's a few more posts, but the actual thing I want you guys to take away here is not just writing, right? This is structure. Most of the stuff we talk about, structure and simplicity. The same thing applies to your videos. If your videos are too convoluted and I can't follow along what's happening, or you're pulling me out of the story, I can't follow the video. And therefore I lose interest and I swipe away. So the same structure, this is the same principles. And I personally feel that and why I get all my team to learn how to write is I think the writing is like the best way to learn this, way better than video.
Foundation.
It's foundational, yeah. So this is why we're doing this. Just as I understand if you're like, fuck, I want an Instagram help and he's making me write LinkedIn posts. Like there is some method to the madness. It actually does. Trust me, it does help you make better story structure for your video. And you can start to see that, right? Because it's like, oh, we're trying to hook them into something relatable. No different to gochujang at the start of the Will It Caramel video. You know, cool. I need to see the conflict of how these guys had to put gochujang into caramel. Like, how's he going to make that happen? Yeah. And then, oh, cool. Here's a resolution, the solution of how we did it. Wow, that's amazing. Cool. Right, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Let's read Kylie's, and he can't defend himself. So let's oh, his is huge. Oh, I'm not going to be able to show the whole thing. So I'll start reading and I'll scroll. Start reading and I'll scroll. You're finished. Oh, just drop off. Oh, no, no. It's just still an hour. You know, still something. Yeah. Okay, because it's 6:25. You know, it's just started a new hour. It makes sense. Yes, thanks. Right. What's our feedback?
It was really long, but
Really long, hard to read.
I understood it the best out of all the posts,
Same.
but
Me
it was
too.
very long.
I just want to quickly say something on length because it's the same thing we said before in the video. Length doesn't actually matter. We read novels.
Yeah.
If the structure's right and it keeps you hooked and engaged. The only reason I'm okay with this length is that I understood him from the beginning, and I'm not sure if it's because I understand the concept of jab, jab, right hook or anything like that, but I feel like what he communicated was quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, don't necessarily just go, things are too long. They're only too long if they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
If they're good all the way through and you want to read them, then you'll read them. You know, you will read it. So I just don't want us to go default to, oh, so much text, boring, because actually some of the best posts I've ever written for my LinkedIn are very long, like really long. Like all my posts above 30,000 views on LinkedIn, which is like essentially viral on LinkedIn, they are all like 1,500 words. Yeah.
I guess, yeah, then
Okay.
it wasn't too long because I did enjoy reading it right to the end, personally.
Yeah. Cool. What other feedback?
I think maybe it should play into the, because one of the things that I resonate with Kylie is like he's basically saying Gary V is Māori. Who knew? And I love playing on that sort of. So he's right. Like Te Ao Māori is all about being generous. You can have it too. You could be part of this too. And I love the way that, you know, basically racists hate that. And I love to just baiting them and just going, you could have this too. Like, I think so there must be a way of making the hook like Gary V is Māori. Like just as
I love that. Did you know Gary V's Māori?
Yeah.
Imagine that as a headline and tagging him, and it would go off, and he would definitely respond to something like that. He plays into culture right like that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Kylie, when you watch this back, change it. I thought I thought for someone who's non-Māori, it teaches you a little bit, right? Like it actually does teach you quite a lot of stuff. Like it allows you to understand just a little bit deeper and what Māori culture is all about. And I think that's great. And it's like a real easy way to let me in. It's like a culture hack for those of us who know Gary V and understand jab, jab, right hook. I now can understand more of Kylie's culture because of it. I think it's great. I really like that. My only feedback, the length thing, I think what we really mean is that it wasn't simplified enough. Like it was too complex of a thing.
Hard to get through.
Yeah, I actually think that's what we all thought. Yeah, it was quite challenging in some of the reading because of length of sentences and the words that he chose and stuff like that. And he could make it a bit more succinct, which I think is a real easy fix for this particular post. The actual story and things are great. The only other thing I thought is that there's not a lot of challenge, which it doesn't always need. Like sometimes like you can break story structure, and I think he's kind of done it okay here where he's broken the story structure in the right way, where he's fully teaching you something, a novel concept. But I would still try and tell you guys, like, where's the challenge for the reader here? A bit more succinct at the beginning. Like, it is there that there is a bit of it, but it's not super clear. Like, I can't just really point to it. Maybe someone else can for me, but I can't like super just point out, oh yeah, that section's the challenge. And so I didn't really nod my head a whole lot. Instead, what I did, and this is why I'm okay with the post, is I go, oh, that's actually quite cool. That's novel.
Is this
that
like
is
educational
breaking
post?
structure. Sorry, Rod, what was that?
Is this like more of an educational post, bro, rather than a conflict solution type?
Even with educational posts, you still have a conflict resolution because you're still presenting the challenge to the person to make them go, oh, I have that challenge and here's a solution. What this is a really good example of, well, it's not really good. It is a good example of someone breaking structure the right way, where he presented a very novel idea that makes you go, okay, explain your idea to me.
Yeah.
Gary Vee's Māori, like, okay, explain. I want to read. And I think there is something, he's done something here that made me want to read it through, which I think is good. And then I learned a little bit about his culture, and I understand Gary Vee in the book that he's written. And look, on LinkedIn, everyone fucking knows Gary Vee on LinkedIn. So like it would resonate really well on that platform. Yeah, the problem I have for everyone in this group is that what he's done here is breaking structure, and breaking structure is not something to teach at the early stages of writing because it's really hard to do. Like I couldn't just do this every time I write. Like this is a real hard thing. It's like a really complex way of writing, like a really advanced way of writing, sorry. And sometimes you'll get it, and most times it'll fall flat. Yeah. I like it.
The conflict is definitely in that line that says, in both marketing and life, establishing trusted connection can be challenging. It's not just about what we want, but about what we can give.
Yeah.
But the problem is that it's subtle.
Yeah.
And I think it works, but it probably wouldn't work for everyone to do it that way.
Exactly. And it's a little bit further down in the piece. So like I had to get there to get to the challenge. I had to start nodding my head. But you're right. It's there. I wouldn't criticize this too much. I just think he simplifies the language a little bit, makes it, tightens it all up, and I'd write it as is. Maybe with a like a. Did you know Gary Vee's Marvel? Like, that would be such a crack up headline. Kylie, you've got to do it. I think he's already posted this one actually. I think he actually. Let me just double check. I think he posted this one already because I had read it. If he did, maybe I can quickly. Oh fuck, my internet in this place is terrible.
Or you just has to go off and just give various posts on another reason Gary Vee is Maori.
Yeah, imagine starting a whole series of trying to prove why Gary Vee is actually Maori.
And other people,
just different people, yeah,
like a conspiracy theory. Nah, he hasn't. He hasn't yet. Nah, he hasn't posted it yet. So I'll flick him a message as well. Tell him. Okay. Let's get that out of the way. Who we got next? I might just jump down just for time. I'll go to Jennifer. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, let's read this one and then we'll have a quick chat. What are people's thoughts?
It's perfect.
Perfect.
This is
Shut
the first
up.
one that I head nodded to, though.
I head
This
nodded
is-
to it too.
This is the first one that I head nodded to, and I think a lot of people would. The whole like get in early or when everyone's away, you're just like so productive. That's such a common thing.
Yeah,
Mm.
for early risers, especially like for people who come in early.
Mm.
Yeah, super
Yeah, I think
relatable.
as a business owner as well, I quite like being there when no one else is there
Yeah.
because it's peaceful and quiet. But I guess if
Yeah.
you do it a better headline, maybe to hook you in with that concept.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed, Caden. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Because
it
it's
kind
something,
of
yeah,
reminded me
business
of the
owner,
idea of like sometimes as a parent, like it's really like a nice break to go to work. It's like it's and it's you know, because on one hand it's like sort of what kind of idiot goes and does work on the weekend? Is this a business or do I just have a really low paying job? You know, like but then on the flip side, you know, I love that kind of no staff, no phone calls, no emails, no children. Like, I'll just spend time with yeah, it's cool. I definitely related to this, and I think out of the ones that you posted in there, I related to this one the strongest. Yeah, I read them through the week. It was quite good that you were posting them because I was like, oh yeah, I gotta do my
Yeah.
own work.
Homework.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think just the headline needed work mostly. Like otherwise it's pretty good. The only other things like real nitpicking stuff, like I personally would have done there are no customers, next line, no staff, next line, no phone calls. What Nate said, read down, not across. Yeah.
Yeah.
This helps with the eyes. I can read that way faster and I can understand it. And I read down the page, nodding my head.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I love this feeling. Like for me, this brings me back. Like this is exactly what this post was designed to do. It takes me back to when I used to run hotels and I'd get in early in the morning and I'd make my first coffee in the morning before all the breakfast crew got in. And I used to love that like time when it was just me, no one else. I could be at the espresso machine, the restaurant's not open, the customers can't come and ask me for a fucking latte, and I can just make my espresso for the morning. And and everyone else can fuck off, and I sit there and you got the morning sun. Like I was transported straight into that.
Yeah, you remembered a thing
Yeah.
because I've got it in my brain
Yeah.
too. I had like a
Yeah.
place for
Yeah.
me.
That is like peak post when you can get people to feel those feels. I know exactly this feeling,
Mhm.
right? And I think we all know that. Like we all know exactly what that feeling is when like you just want to get away.
You feel like at peace reading it. You're like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm there right
I'm
now.
gonna work on
Like, I'm
Saturday. Yeah,
The headline could be funny. Like I run away from my kids.
yeah.
Come
Like,
Saturday.
Yeah.
the same, like, yeah.
And I thought of
Yeah.
something like that, but I was like, oh, I don't know if I should like bash my family and blah blah blah. Like I
you're
kind
not.
of thought about it and then I was worried, but I'll just do it.
The satirical mum like trope is like really popular right now. Like like Lisa Perez and like Britt Cunningham and those sorts of influencers on TikTok and stuff. Who every mum or every parent
Yeah.
thinks it.
Yeah.
And mums don't often say it because they're meant to be the good one.
That's right.
Like it's like the same thing. So like they have blown up because they're like Lisa essentially is sharing her intrusive thoughts with the world.
Mhm.
And all mums have. If you ever watch Lisa Perez's content, and so I'm all for it. Like people get it, they understand it's a joke. Like and if they don't and they give you negative stuff, cool, you get more engagement.
That's right.
Push it
Yeah.
out further.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any? No, we don't have any more. That was really good. Have we got more?
Did Aaron put one in, or did you guys talk about that last week?
Oh, no, we talked about it last week. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we talked about
Okay,
it last week.
cool.
So Aaron hasn't put
Yeah,
one in yet.
sweet as.
Yeah. So that's all good. What if you guys want chuck one in over the weekend or next week, and we'll all just jump in because the guys have been in there talking about each other's posts anyway throughout the week. So if you want to chuck one in, and we can just give written feedback as well on it. Okay, so that's it. I want to go into a little bit of analytics real quickly. Hi, see you, Tama. I've just gone already. I want to go into analytics a little bit just so we can talk a little bit about it and so people can see it and how to look at it, what to look for. Let me just find where it is gone. No, that's not there. Where was that?
If you can.
You know what? It'll be in my thing where you. Oh, no, it won't.
Activity. You should get that notification up there. I think it's
Cool.
here.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so guys, for those of you who didn't see it, I honestly didn't pay enough attention to Jennifer's post blowing up, and then I was so surprised when I saw them all. And I asked her essentially, like, what I wanted to know was, are these posts? So for everyone who hasn't probably looked at posts, she's like tens and hundreds of thousands of views on her post of her slicing salmon, right? And there's real satisfying videos of her slicing salmon. And when I looked at it, I was thinking, oh, I wonder if she paid for these views or not. Not because I didn't think she couldn't get it, they weren't good videos, but there was something kind of off with the engagement from what we'd typically see. The engagement was a lot lower on the post for video views at that level. Like, there's like 300,000 view videos with 0 comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I was like, wait, maybe they're paid, and that's fine because there's nothing wrong with doing paid stuff. But then they're not paid, it's all organic, which is amazing. But then now let's look at the analytics to go, well, if we're getting views is good, and it's one thing because we now know, cool, we got viewership, but now we need that viewership to do something. And the easiest thing to get them to do is to like or comment or share. So how do we get them to do that now that we're at that place? But the first thing is you need to sort of dig in and see who's watching, who's looking, and what are the analytics show. So I asked Jennifer to share her analytics with me. So we've got these slides. I wonder if I can, oh yeah, cool, perfect. So we'll go through these and just have a look. So just so we're all reading it. Current audience, I just want to double check, but I'm pretty sure, because these look a little bit different to the ones that I get. Is this out of a analytics report or out of the Facebook itself, Facebook Business Manager?
That's out of the Meta Business.
Oh yeah, Meta Business. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I don't recognize it, because I always just look directly in there. I never go to Meta Business. I'm hopeless like that. So current audience is obviously your followers, as opposed to people watching. So everyone looking at this, you've got to be really careful when you have videos go off and when you're looking at your audience. Audience isn't the same as people who saw the video. Okay, so that's just saying you got to be real clear on here. In Instagram and Facebook, I believe we have data on who watched it, but on the TikTok stuff, it's slightly different. So we'll get there. So obviously, pretty standard analytics stuff, who your followers are, your demographic breakdown when you have a look at it. So women and men, and what ages they are. I always think that this is quite an interesting thing to look at of your demographics of who are already watching. So do you double down or do you try and create content for demographics you want to go after? You know, that's something to think about. Like, for instance, Jennifer might want to make more content for millennials because that's the majority of her content, her audience. Or does she want to try and get more Gen X and baby boomers watching her content? How does that affect the content that she's going to make? So something to think about. Same with gender. Like, we have a skew to female in ours. And mostly because like office dynamic content isn't something men watch a lot of. That it's more of a female oriented.
I also do wonder if like me being a female skews it as well.
Whereas, you open up all the men for you page right here, and it's going to be hunting. We've talked about this, right? Like, it's hunting, fishing, cars, it's girls, it's tech. There's certain things that we all watch. Men are pretty simple. And then we've got our audio, like our location, which is quite interesting. That like
Philippines.
Well, yeah, but the top town in the city is where you're from, which is kind of funny because I guess everyone knows you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
Well, and with the Philippines, my 2 staff members are from the Philippines. So would that, if they liked the page and are liking a few videos and they're from there, would it gear it towards that or not really?
Potentially. I wouldn't jump to that conclusion just yet because let's go through this because there's some
Oh,
other
yes,
reasons
yeah.
that tell me why that might not be the case. But
Yeah.
let's just have a quick little look. Anyway, I just want everyone to know it's good to have a look at these analytics every once in a while, see who's in your audience, where they're from, for the reason of where am I making content? Like a real good example is we realized that we had a lot of Southeast Asia watching our content. And so Janie started to do videos where she would do AI subtitles, captions.
In different languages
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia,
Yeah. You know, like
just
so
to cater to them.
Malaysian, and then all the Malaysians would be in the chat going, why is there Malaysian subtitles? Like blah, 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 blah. And they'd all be part of it, but then they start to feel part of a community, so they engage. So it's like real simple stuff that you can do there, like letting your audience know, we know you're there. We're letting you know. So real good community build thing. So just something for you guys to think about.
Sorry, this is just her existing audience, not like
not
overall
viewers.
viewership.
No,
Yeah.
This is just followers, this one. But down here, no, not this one. I think this changed into Instagram. Yeah, so this is just Instagram. I'm not really going to go through that because Instagram, it's just a different audience. But that's something for you guys to think about as well. Your audiences on each platform won't always be the same. Facebook, Instagram, they're different here. So just something to look at. These are the ones I wanted to see.
Yeah.
So this is TikTok. And right, I'm right, Jennifer, right? This is the TikTok
yes.
analytics. Yeah, cool. It looks like it. So this here is reached audience, which is not the same as followers. This is the people who have actually watched stuff. And for me, when your account's still small following, but you're getting large viewership, like Jennifer has been getting lately with her videos, this is super interesting to look at because, I mean, this is just activity. You don't need to too much look at it, but that tells you her audience. So she's got a skewed young audience, you know, they're Gen Z to young millennials in her audience. Pretty still 50-50 split. So I'd call that down the middle. Top 10 countries. This is the bit that's super really interesting. United States makes sense because the United States is like the largest audience on TikTok globally. But the rest are crazy. So Saudi, Turkey, Ukraine, Brazil, Thailand, Vietnam, South Africa, Cambodia, Iraq. This is so good. This is what videos that don't use language can do because it doesn't. Everyone can watch the salmon cutting video. Anyone can watch it, which is great for reach. What it isn't great for is that, like, I don't know how many orders you can fulfill in Turkey. Yeah, so it's like not a great thing.
Yeah.
But the upside is that for us to get everyone in New Zealand, we're also going to have to get everyone in the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's no way you're going to get 5 million views on a video and the majority of them being New Zealand. It's just not how it works, right? So for us to get 2 million people in New Zealand to see us, which is outrageous, but to do that, you're probably going to need 100 mil video. The only way to get 100 mil video, which fuck, if you can figure that out, tell us, we'll hire you, is that you need everyone in the world to see it. So I'm not mad that this is what it is, but we need to find a way to start to get more engagement now to make this worthwhile. So anyway, first thing to look at, very interesting. It'd be really interesting for, like, say the Barons, like, you guys have a look at this to see where your audience is from, because it'd just be real interesting just to see, if everyone to have a look. Top cities in, like, capital cities of all the places that we just pretty much talked about for the most part, which is quite interesting. And that's it. So what that tells me is that we have an audience who doesn't primarily speak English, right? So we have to find a way to get them to engage. Either we have to decide, do we want more of an English audience? That's something we have to decide. Or two, do we just want more engagement to push it out to more people? So there's two ways to look at it, right? Like, you can either add more voiceover, talk to the audience more in English. So then English speakers will understand that it is an English speaking video and that they might respond and you might ask them questions or something like that. Or a lot of countries, a lot of people who don't speak English can understand English, or that at least be able to read an English subtitle if it's really like a call to action on screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there is some stuff. So now my thought here is we have to make some decisions, like what are we trying to do with it? And then I think everyone needs to think is like, what are we trying to do with this channel now? We're getting all this, we know we got the video style. Do we just want to go for maximum viewership just in general? Do we want followers? Do we want more engagement? Do we want to find a whole new content style to find New Zealanders? All right. So that's something for us to think about, because you guys might get some videos that start going viral, but you guys like have different, like you might want specific audience to sell your product or service to. Like Rod's not gonna, it doesn't make any sense for Rod to have a Vietnam audience. Like they're not gonna come to the gym. So like it's not gonna help. So what do we have to do that? So I thought what we could talk about for like the next 10 minutes or so is just, let's just brainstorm some ideas together, because it's, you're all going to see this. We see it in our content. We get all these people from everywhere. We want a global audience because for us it's different. We obviously need people in certain locations, but we like to cultivate it. We're playing real long game stuff here. Like one day we want to open up an office in Singapore. So it makes sense for us to have Southeast Asian people who follow us. But that isn't the same for everyone. So I guess all I want to do is like, what do we think? Has everyone watched the video, by the way? Has everyone seen these salmon slicing videos? Yeah. All right. Real simple, really good, satisfying, like real good, satisfying videos.
It initially started as kind of like filler content. Like I wanted to try and post something at least every day. And it's like, this is easy. Throw it out there. I guess with lots and lots and lots of views, it could potentially, I was thinking, turn into like a different kind of income stream where we're not necessarily selling our product, but more like advertising and influencer kind of stuff where companies are coming to me and saying, well, we'll pay you to put our knife in the video, or kind of tweaking it in a way to kind of add that extra in. So getting a more worldwide followership would be okay as well. Yeah,
great. So that's good insight. That makes me still think that our goal here then is to, how do we get engagement? How do we get people to comment and like, because your engagement levels are like a 0.4% or something like that. They're nothing, which is why I thought it was paid for.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really low.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Like, guys, like if this is your page, what would you want to try to do? Like, you all seen the video. There's no wrong answers here, because you're all going to come into this. This is going to happen to all of you at some point. What do we do? How do we get people to engage from that knife cutting?
I threw up a little subscribe button in the last one, and I don't think it worked initially.
Don't complete the thing. That's how you get people to comment being like, why didn't you finish the whole salmon?
Yeah. I've got a few where I've reversed the video and it goes, I'm slicing backwards, so it's adding salmon to it.
Yeah. How did they perform? I didn't see those ones.
I think I've only done one of those. And it's got three saves. And
if you filmed it like meticulously enough, it'd be like reinserting the bones back into the fish. Like, you know how you have to imagine like putting it like
reverse. Just really annoying. You can tell that Joni is a brat. Like, she just wants to make videos to annoy people.
Well, I mean, yeah, we could do different things. Like, as you're slicing, just kind of like stop and, I don't know, give it a random
just like
cut
keep
there.
slicing one way, but the last piece, like, cut it sideways.
Yeah. Just do something random like that.
Try it.
And then, I could just do a bit of voiceover. I don't know if that would work or not, but say random things.
I reckon try voiceover. I reckon try voiceover. I reckon, you know what would be really a real simple way to do this, because I'm already forcing you to write posts for LinkedIn. Just read your LinkedIn post out. It's so unrelated. It's so, just do it, because you don't have to think about it. Just see what happens when you talk on it. Because I used to do this as my vlogs. I do the time lapse and I just talk about some shit that's happening in my life.
Wow.
And they went off and people loved it and people were following along for a long time for it. And like I still get messages from people like, bring back the vlogs, and I'm like, oh, it's just a time lapse. I got bored of making the time lapse. I didn't enjoy making, like, you know, I wasn't doing anything. But yeah, like that's an easy way to start it.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is introducing an English element to it to see what it does.
Yeah.
Do 1 or 2 and just see what happens.
Yeah, and see.
Yeah.
Talk over it.
And give us a relatable content, then hopefully people will comment as well or interact with it, like your LinkedIn post, you know? Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
good point.
related to the salmon. The salmon's kind of just this thing in the background almost. Pleasurable to watch.
It's very
but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
I had
satisfying video with other stuff. Yeah.
one comment on YouTube. Somebody hated the background music that I put with it. So I could just try different random music in the background too and just try and make people.
You know what,
comment that way.
actually, if you got a mic, a good mic, a shotgun mic or something just off camera, and you ASMR the slice, because you know when you slice stuff, there's that noise, but it won't pick it up very well unless you had a mic pointed right at it, like a shotgun mic. So a shotgun mic, you can even just get one like this. These are like $180. These ones, the video mic, like go-tos, and it's shotgun. So if you just pointed this just off camera right at what you're doing as close as possible right off camera, it would pick up all the noise. You know you guys will make noise.
all that
Okay, I'm not gonna make it.
random.
I can't make it. That there, no background music, and then just your voiceover, or even just one without no voiceover, just ASMR.
Or just go hard out after the person who complained about the music and get them to select some music.
Yeah. I asked them,
Just
I'm
go
like,
after
should I
them.
have no music or different music or fire the DJ?
Yeah. Do
No-
a
no
reply
response
video
yet.
to their
them
comment.
down.
A reply
Yeah,
video
hunt
to
them
their
down.
comment with
Hunt them down. Get them to make your music better. That's if I can get at it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
do
go.
a reply video to their comment with some other music. Are you gonna go set up?
I'm gonna go set up because I've got another straight after, and I need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool.
Thanks.
Love you
See you,
guys.
mate. I'll see
Thanks
you
very much. See you
Bye.
next week.
So just quick on that too, like with that Will It Smoke video, the audience was mostly Canadian and then New Zealand. So I'm still putting these Will It Smoke videos in and amongst it all too, right? Because
Yeah, of course.
that's a
yeah.
potential way to grow the in-country audience.
Yeah, I satisfying videos like the salmon cutting ones are really hard to grow followers from. Because it's like these experiments for engagement could really ruin the viewership.
Yeah.
Like it could really just like get rid of it all. Like you just might not get any more viewership because of these little engagement things. So saying like you want to test stuff, but you also, if it doesn't work, just stop doing it. Because the viewership's still good because you're still acquiring new audiences to see your stuff, and then they might see some of your other videos. But just a video of you cutting salmon is like a real hard way to grow. Because there's no reason, there's no reason for me to grow unless I'm like got a weird fetish for salmon being cut.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna wrap this up today, but homework wise, what I'd like to do is I'd like you all to just rewrite your LinkedIn post based on the feedback. And then Clay, you and Erin and that can just write a post and put it in if you want some feedback, but everyone else rewrite it. I actually just want you to post it. Just do what Carly's doing, just post it. Just rewrite it and post it. Like we don't want to analyze it too much, otherwise we're all just gonna like pull it apart. We can always pull everything apart. Let's just post it and get some feedback from your audience. Get some analytics, and let's talk about analytics next week because you guys are going to start posting things. We need to understand how to adapt now. Same with your videos. Like, Clay, your video on that we did today. If you just reorientate your videos and stuff and make a few changes, just do whatever you want. Just post it though, because what we want is we want to talk about what happens.
You want me to stick it up, tidy it up, and put it on the. Okay.
Yeah. If you want some feedback before you put it up, put it in the chat. Like put it in the thing, and I'll give you some feedback, and you can make iterations until you're happy with it. But I want us to start. We need to start posting so we know how to adapt and iterate.
Yeah. Okay.
We need to. So feel free to make some changes. Rod, you guys need to put your one up. like you definitely chuck that one up today, change where your text is and put it up. And let's do that. So let's get some videos up and put it. Roman, still waiting for you to you come to me with a script when you're ready. I told the guys already that they're happy to help you film it. If you pop into the studio to do a more educational style. Remember how you're going to write a script for us? So we'll still do all that. And then next week we'll just break down more things. But I think if we just keep doing this and iterate, keep learning on it, and then hopefully, well, we've got a couple more weeks before the next one starts. We've got a few bits of content that we know, and then we know how to keep rolling that on. And then those of you who want to keep dropping, like coming into the next one, we just keep learning. We'll just keep pushing forward.
Cool. Awesome.
Cool. All right, team.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Cool.
We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dave.
You guys.
See you guys. Take care. Bye.